and I think it's a pretty good map. You do have a lot of the rooftop battles, which really kind of slow things down, but with what we just talked about, kind of the new weapons and the new meta, I think it'll be playing really well. And honestly, too, I love Bernal. I love that it has become kind of a staple in competitive play. It reminds me of back when Sis Horizon was always picked, and I love that the pros are really kind of adapting to that. But that is where we will be starting here momentarily. Nightmare versus Envy. I am excited to see what they're bringing in store. It does look like Lasagna was bringing that repeater. So we will see a little bit of poke and prodding going on from them as we get started on Bernal.
Actually, on Skyway Stadium. Is where
I
we
mean,
get
Skyway
started off.
Stadium.
Yeah,
Oh.
and for Skyway to have this start, right? One of the craziest parts about Skyway is that when you get a cash out, there's over at that open office side that we could see Uni on right now, there's a lot of teams that know exactly what they need to do to just prevent teams from making over. And already, Envy knows what they need to do. But Uni has pre-placed himself up here near Cash Out B, hopefully in a way to cut off Envy from being able to make a lot of progress. But he is going to have to take this team fight. So let's see what happens as Uni waits for his team to coin back in while the entirety of Envy collapse in on this open office and get the plug onto B.
I mean, we're a minute into the game and we already have 2 people down using coins. This is wild, an amazing start, but they're back. They have coined in. They're getting back together with Uni. You see them going towards that bounce pad. They will be there momentarily, but we see the setup already from Envy. One person on top. They're going for the plug. They do go for a throw. It gets intercepted by a chair. That's unfortunate. Stalls them for just a minute or a second there. Now we're watching as Nightmare is on the ground floor. They're starting to make their approach. They're going a little slow, trying to find any opening that they can, looking for any possibility, but they haven't found them just yet, so they know that they are above them, and it's going to make the approach just that much more difficult.
Oh yeah, and a difficult approach is one thing, but figuring out their way through this fight is another. And Busy gonna get healed back up after eating a lot of that damage that Gremlin just dealt out to the Titan, but he claps back. The nice little shot of his own. Gonna be Envy now, trading blows as Busy goes down. Both teams without their heavy. Who gets the res first? It's Envy. Grabs the res. Lasagna unable to get into a spot to use the defibs. Uni now on his own outside is unable to close it. Lasagna goes out as well. Once again, we're left with just Uni. One man standing, trying to stay alive. He is going to take this fight really early, almost taking out Busy for the second time in this team fight. He survives with his life, but as Stu-J comes back to life, we need to see Nightmare get a proper reset here.
Yeah, Uni did a great job of staying alive, but he still has to wait 8 more seconds for his other teammate to coin in. It's not looking good for them because the cash out is more than halfway done, and we're immediately seeing Gremlin with that BFR just getting some shots off. They do have the height advantage, but now everybody is back in the battle. We're watching them as they converge onto this point. We're getting down to this last fourth of it. They blow up the C4. It does drop it. They're going to have to swarm on this very quickly. Nice little formation from Envy. They're a little bit of ways away. Nice RPG. Did not connect with anybody. There's the dome shield going down from Gremlin. Looks like Lasagna's already down. Busy eliminated in this battle, trying to get some shots off from the Titan. Looks like Uni's on just a sliver of HP, but what else is new? Titan hits their shots, and they're trying to find the last one. They've got them down to just a sliver of HP, but this clock is running out. Uni trying to go for the steal. If he can hold it, he'll be able to get it, but no, it looks like he got pulled off almost immediately. Time is running down, and Uni has been wiped. And there it is. The first cash out goes the way of Envy.
Wow, I mean, throughout that entire fight, Nightmare was unkillable in the sense that Uni retained his life. But look at that, already Lasagna and Grem, they have burned 2 coins in the first cash out, which is very uncommon. I mean, the fact that they were able to avoid the team wipe is one thing, but being unable to find a way to capitalize on that is really telling of how Envy is able to understand playing around that point in particular. And given the fact that we're kind of using this poke really effectively up against Nightmare, shows that that range that Envy is playing with is working really well on this map. I mean, both, not only do you have the LH1, but you also have the entire Pike and the entire Titan mags that are just continually removing Nightmare's health before they can even get into a spot to think about how to clap back.
Yeah, it's just kind of that height advantage, but right now they're basically at the same height. So we're waiting for somebody to kind of make a play where they come around, find a nice little angle, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. They're diving directly onto him. It looks like Busy went down in that battle, but immediately gets rezzed back up. They're going towards the staircase. It will buy them a little bit of space, but it looks like Busy is right there, right in it. He's charging up the staircase. The heal beam being used, love to see it. Switching over to the Pike now. He's healing back and forth. There's that trade-off between how can you heal, how can you deal damage. It really turns out which team is the stronger one as they make their approach. Uni, the last person remaining, and there he goes, trying to get a little bit of damage off, but there's an RPG, brings Uni down to just 2 bars. Looks like he's trying to still get away. The man is a master at staying alive, but he can do it no more.
I mean, just a crazy set of fights here once again. And, I mean, it kind of goes to show that you can't underestimate that poke damage. Even once Nightmare had actually crossed the gap and got into a spot where, in theory, now they can really make a difference, you have to remember that Lasagna is on the repeater, and Gremlin is also on the Titan. And so their poke damage up close really is kind of at its end based on who is getting that damage out first. Now, Uni with the Arn is honestly kind of just surprising you at how much he's able to stay alive. But no matter how much survivability he has, he's not able to get himself into a position to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, and I'm curious if we can see the scoreboard real quick, because I don't know if this has been one-sided or not, because it feels really close in the battles, but it's overall, it just kind of, we're seeing more of this. We're seeing just this poke damage, poke and prod, find some opening, get healed right back up, and we're just waiting for one person to basically make a mistake or make a push. Uni taking some good damage, reloading that RPG. It's going to be really interesting if Dizzy's able to connect that. He did! Are you kidding me? Wow.
What? That's wild. That's going to force Lasagna to come through, use that DMAT, get those defibs going, get a long res. But Envy is unmoving, unwavering right now in their hold. And it's somewhat telling of the current status of this poke meta, because Envy, they have this entire cross covered. They have all the long range they need to prevent Nightmare from making it across this gap. All they have to do is just keep playing that game for 13 minutes and they win. And I said this before in one of my videos that technically no team has ever won by timer in a tournament before. This could be history.
Are we about to see that? Are we about to sit here for 13 minutes and watch these two teams do the longest rooftop battle ever?
I don't think so, because as we speak, Nightmare is making their way over from the open office, but Uni gets taken out immediately. Stujay, well-placed damage with that LH1, newly buffed, freshly buffed LH1, and man, it is crispy. So Lasagna gonna be grabbing his body, come back over, trying to get the res. As he does, he's caught out. Envy, they're dashing right behind him. The RPG opens up and takes away his health bar. Grem, last player standing, could choose to just go off the edge right now, and that honestly might be the best case scenario. But Envy, they're still looking for him. They're going to go back to both the trophies. They know exactly where those bodies are. Uni will coin back in. See what's going to happen now with Lasagna's piece. As Envy, they clap in on it. They're still taking this fight. Grem doing everything he can to stay alive. Dome's going to go down. But Rio, what a sloppy fight this is becoming.
I actually agree with you. Unfortunately, it has been very sloppy, and really just Uni was out of position and it did not work well for them. We're seeing the continuous fallout from that. Now we're watching as Gremlin is trying to be res back up. All of Envy is here, but really they are just still a man down for this entire battle. We see them just guarding this totem. They know that they're down to their last coin. This is wild. We're not even on the second vault. It hasn't been plugged yet, and people are still just about to burn all of their coins. Now they know that Lasagna is out in the distance. They want to continue this battle. They want to chase them. Nice little gateway, watching as they bounce and get away, follow through the gateway, get inside this building. It has been plugged. We are watching as Nightmare have pulled the battle off to the side of A, and now they're on the chase. Can Envy get on here, find some picks, and get the cash?
Yeah, this is huge. Nightmare, for the first time in a long time, is actually in the driver's seat. And the thing is, though, is that losing Lasagna early on means that they will have a tough time staying there. Once again, it's just Uni that is alive. He's going to be able to get the res, but at the same time, Envy can just come in control and steal this cash out. finally going to be starting the steal. Is anybody going to be in place in time to stop it? I don't think so. They don't think so either. Not even going to try. And Grem, no coins remaining. That means that they have to find this trophy or just force a team wipe. But for Nightmare, this is bad macro, especially as Lasagna goes down yet again. Uni has to force this team wipe right now, which he does. This is going to be one chance. One team fight is all that remains for map 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going wrong here. It just, I hate to say it, but I think Uni is just out of position on this map in nearly every situation. And really, what we're talking about in this new meta is one mistake. They're looking for any opening. And if you give them to him over and over again by just losing Uni or having the rest of your team go down and not Uni being there, it's really unfortunate. So I don't know where this is coming from because this is such a top tier team in my opinion. And I have seen them play so much better than this. But with all that said, here comes the last fight.
Oh yeah, last fight is upon us here. See what's gonna happen as Envy is holding this rooftop. A lot of damage being dealt out. Grem has to fall back. They're using that heal beam on himself. See Lasagna and Uni trying to make their way in. The winch not going to be doing much for Grem, and as that timer slowly ticks down, it's all said and done as Envy has taken the first map. Some very interesting macro coming out of Nightmare. Not forcing team wipes when they should. Really doing their best to try and get a hold of the situation early on where, hey, if we're just going to be held, we can figure out how to get around it. But just losing every single coin on your heavy in the process, this is not standard gameplay.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't know. To me, that feels like a fallout of communication. Like they just something went wrong, especially in those early fights when they had to coin in. I mean, the first minute we watched two of them burn a coin. I don't know how many matches I've seen and how many times I'm looking at people with 0 coins left. I can't really remember any other matches, and that's comedic as everything to me. So interesting way to start for these two teams. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's just where Nightmare just had something shaken in them, and they're gonna do better. They have so much potential. They have so much promise in the next maps, and I don't think that that's gonna be it. I will be surprised if this doesn't go to a best of 3 or all 3 matches, I should say.
Absolutely. I mean, Lasagna not even getting the chance to get on the scoreboard, right? Having 0 elims is not something we're used to seeing. And I mean, hey, Repeater is still a new pick for a lot of these players, and I don't necessarily think that it's because of that, but just sort of coming into contact with this extreme poke fight gameplay, right, is so weird for a lot of these teams. And I mean, look at Nightmare's run up to this point, right? They didn't face any team that was playing as heavy into one play style like this as Envy was. And now we're going to be seeing some change ups coming into this. Nightmare is changing up their setup here. We've got Lasagna back on the FAMAS. We've got Grem back on the SA-1216. And we'll see if Envy is going to be staying into that poke playstyle. But should Nightmare encounter that yet again, I think they're a lot more equipped for a proper brawl comp to try and fight it out this time.
Absolutely. And we are now on Bernal, so getting a nice little start. I've seen Nightmare perform well on Bernal, so I'm going to root for them and see if they're able to improve even a little bit over what we last saw. They're getting there over towards Vault 1. We see the tap is about to go off. There it is, Gremlin getting the tap, but Envy, look at this. They're already setting up a little bit of a height advantage, trying to get any vantage point they can on Nightmare, and this can be what turns the entire tide. But I'm not really sure, again, what Nightmare's doing. They're just kind of bundling up, all just watching the vault. I don't see much strategy being developed there. Lasagna off to the right, but again, that could just allow him to just be immediately picked off. But he is walking. He's playing it a little slow. I'm going to be really excited to see how this all plays out.
Worth noting that Lasagna is running heal beam this time around. I think you did mention that, but the thing is that he, on this heal beam, taking the split angle does not make a lot of sense as far as bringing utility to your team, especially now as Envy is starting this engagement and getting damage off on everybody. Luckily, we do still have Uni in a spot to keep everybody topped up with their own H+ infuser. But we're looking to see Envy start to just take a different approach to this, where they drop off their height, they start to move through those buildings, keeping an eye on the vault to make sure that nobody's going to be taken away. But right now, neither of these teams are ready to run away with the vault. They really want to prove that this team fight is theirs for the taking, and it's going to start off with this really strong engagement from Envy as Lasagna already goes out. The damage can be traded back, but immediately healed back up. Busy, back to full HP, getting a few more pulls back into that BFR. And as Grem goes down, once again, the survivor man himself, Uni, 1-on-2 situation. Gonna get quickly dealt with thanks to a 9-3R. And Envy's won the first team fight. Rio, is this a repeat of what we saw last time?
No. It's too early to say that. The one advantage that I saw in this battle was Uni was actually with his team this time. He died relatively close after them in a relatively close area. So it's better. It's improvement. They have more opportunities. They haven't burned any coins yet. We're more than 2 minutes into the match, and the cash out has now been started. They've got a little bit of a difficult approach because they are coming in a very open area, and we see all of Envy just climbing to the top of that bell tower. It's a great vantage point, but they are playing it smart. NTMR is running through the buildings, trying to limit their exposure, trying to not give any clues to where they might be. But I'm afraid that Envy is just going to read them like a book, a picture book at that. And there it goes, getting some gateways off, and they did make a nice little transport over there. They're going towards the rooftop, and I'm curious what's going to happen next, because it seems like Envy is all staying on the roof and just waiting for them to make their first move.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for them to drop down yet. It looks like Nightmare is going to be baiting out an approach there with pulling that cash box closer. Envy doesn't take the bait. They are trying to set up an angle right now, trying to see if Uni can get some early damage on the rooftop. He is able to get some shots out that are quickly healed back up. Envy's not budging. They're staying on this ulti height position. Nightmare knows if they start to tap this box, that Envy can just collapse in on them in an instant. And so for now, we're looking to see who's making that first move. For Nightmare, they really want to find an early pick, but the angles are just not there. At the very top of this cathedral, Envy has perfect positioning, trying to figure out exactly where these angles are going to come from. Nightmare goes back to the box, trying to figure out, hey, we just bait them out, bait them down, but all the glitches will land, all of the utility thrown out here. Early damage onto Stujay, pushes Stujay off his angle. Busy drops down as well, ready to start dealing some extra damage. Currently, though, SCN2K having to back off inside that dome. Busy stays alive. Lasagna almost goes down. Here we go. The main damage starting to get dealt. Envy loses 2 immediately just down to Busy versus Uni. And Busy grabs the winch. Uni taken out. And that's Envy's first box of Bernal.
Wow, that entire cash out was one battle. It was slow. It was methodical. Nightmare tried to find any opening, but Envy just stayed on top. They just didn't move. They didn't flinch until the steal was starting to happen, and then they just swarmed. It was perfection. It's a great play. They did everything right. That's a very difficult cash out. I will give Nightmare that, but honestly, it just seems like they're struggling. I don't know what's going on today. Maybe they need more caffeine. Maybe they just need a nice little hug, but yeah, it is going back now towards Vault 2. Seems like they're going to try and go for the tap, but right now, Envy still keeping on that high ground, and it is just working for them so far, Artie.
Yeah, I mean, height is one thing in this game, but on Bernal, the difference between the height and the low ground seemingly isn't that much, but Envy's able to use every single bit of it to their advantage. Immediately, Busy able to deal a lot of damage, getting Lasagna almost taken away, but Lasagna survives. Busy, the one actually almost going out here. He gets winched, and with Busy out of the way, this could be an opening for Nightmare to really make an impact. As soon as they get the opportunity, though, Stujay, he throws that vault away. Nightmare now knows, even if they win this team fight, it's going to be delayed. Even if they win this team fight, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get control. By throwing that vault, it actually has thrown off the pacing. Uni chasing the vault, not knowing if Envy is trying to go for some sort of play or not here. Uni going to be going back in, seeing what he can do to take this vault over to a cash out. But I mean, Envy is reset. That was such a big brain play that's thrown Nightmare off. He could not capitalize on the pick on a Busy. We see Lasagna getting early damage on STN2K, but right now, STN, he's in a survivable spot. Uni's the one that gets taken out first here.
Yeah, interesting to see. They really kind of got very spread out with that ball, just threw it and made everybody kind of scramble. Immediately now, it seems like everybody is battling it out. Lasagna, the last person remaining, and sadly, another team wipe. So this will allow Envy to get the vault, get the plug, get set up, and boy, it is going to be a continuous uphill battle for Nightmare. I am really hopeful that they're able to take something, get something going, find some momentum, get some kills, do anything. They're Nightmare. They're a great team. They've got Uni, Lasagna, and Gremlin. These are members that I have screamed about, I've talked about, have just hyped up, and I have seen so many better performances. So, with all that said, they have been respawned. They are starting their approach, and it's all going to come down to potentially one battle.
Oh, big early damage from Busy here. The winch is going to go both ways, but it looks like Envy has the upper hand on this early damage. Now, with Lasagna out of the way, no quick res will be had for Nightmare. Already Busy trying to figure out if he's going to be able to finish Graham. He does. Just down to Uni. Hank J. Wimbledon himself. He picks off one. A one's all he's going to be able to get as Envy once again finds themselves victorious in this team fight. This could be the last cash out of this series for the upper bracket final.
Yeah, Nightmare's playing close together, but it just didn't work for them. They had to dive on that pretty directly and just got into all of Envy's faces, and it just did not work for them. There's going to be one more battle coming in. They're about to spawn back in. They're aware of where they're coming, and there it is. We're going to see as they start their approach. They're staying inside the building. This cash out is more than halfway done. RPG in hand by their heavy. They want to try and get in there, find any entry, and find any opening. This cash out is down to its last third. Time is ticking down, but look at this. They're starting to get spread out. Gremlin taking some damage, but gets healed back up by Uni. They're starting to go on it, trying to get close. I'm not sure what's about to happen as the time is running low, Artie.
Yeah, I mean, immediately, Envy matched them on their height. Nightmare unable to find an opportunity as Grem goes down. Busy gets traded out here. This could be huge, but for Nightmare, they have to try and match. Unfortunately, though, the defibs aren't going to hit for Lasagna. That's going to be a crucial stall moment there. Nightmare does not have time to get this seal the way that matters. Envy has the time. Envy has the team wipe. And Envy has the upper bracket finals.
Okay, well, we will see more of Envy, but boy, what a showing. It seems like they have been practicing, they have been working on their positioning and their team play. Every time that we watched over and saw Envy, it just seemed so precise. It seemed so refined. It just seemed so just top level finals. I don't even think we saw a team wipe happen on Envy